Good evening, Mayor and city residents. I'm Jitinder Kokar, Public Services Director with the City of College Park. Dr. Esters have asked us to restart these meetings, and we had an internal conversation between myself and Major Kaladi and a few others in our city management, and we thought it'll be a good thing to start back. And I just wanted to give a brief introduction to all the people who are present. I don't think I have had the opportunity to meet most of the residents who are on this call. But anyways, I just give a couple of minutes introduction of myself. I'm an engineer by education. I'm a certified building official, and I carry about 9 or 10 International Code Council certifications. I have a good deal of new construction experience as well as code enforcement experience. Previously, I have worked as a building plans examiner for one of the jurisdictions in Virginia, and I have also worked in two other states apart from Virginia. Um, I do believe that there is a great potential in College Park, and I see a lot of similarities that I came from the previous city. That was city of Fairfax, where we had George Mason. Quite a bit of similar issues are here in this town. Having said that, I also wanted to share with you all that our Department of Public Services is responsible for Animal Control Division, Code Enforcement Division, Parking Enforcement Division, and Licensing and Permits Division. Those are four basic functions that constitute Department of Public Services. I have with me today a couple of my code enforcement supervisors, Derek Daves and Lisa Lanetta. And I also have Sharon Fletcher, who is my executive assistant and support me on a lot of these reach out efforts. Um, there are other members of my team also. My parking enforcement manager, Jim Miller, is also on the call. Uh, Having said that, I think it's enough of the introduction. I would probably request at this time Major Kaladi to share a lot of data that he has put together, and I give this over to Major Kaladi.
It looks like he may have been dropped from the call and is logging back in. Would you like to mention anything about Public Safety Month? Building Safety Month, I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Actually, in the month of May, we celebrate Building Safety Week and the whole month. We celebrate a lot of new construction and other activities that relate to building safety and life safety matters every week within the month of May. We had a outreach effort on Friday Night Live, but because of weather issues, we couldn't do that. We have a tentative date of May 31st. We will like to conclude that, and we will all have a couple of hours of interaction with city residents, and we will open our operations to them if they had any question. All the program has not been finalized out, but as soon as it's finalized out later this week, we will definitely share that with all the folks on our website. Um, is Major Kaladi back yet, Sharon?
No, he's not. I'm sorry. I will reach out to him and see because he was here. Just a moment, please.
Jatinder, Mr. Kogar, can I ask you a question in the meantime? So wait.
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for stating the Public Safety Month. Just to add, the City of College Park City Council actually passed a proclamation. We read a proclamation from the City Council last Tuesday night's meeting about this month. This is an important month, and a ton of our effort from the Public Services Department, your department, actually has been put into this month. So it is an important month. The question I have, in the last Friday night live event, I saw that your department was going to have a table at the event, FNL event, and giving out some information. Is it going to be rescheduled in one of the future months event, the FNL event?
Oh, absolutely. I think we will definitely continue that effort. I had talked to Rena, and we are going to have a Friday night live program next month in June. But we have to kind of do at least a couple of activities as a standard practice by all the code enforcement manager and building officials across the nation. And we definitely would do a, effort to make a reach out effort on May 31st. We haven't finalized the time window yet, Mayor. Either we will do in the morning, like from 9 to 10:30, 11 time period, or maybe 3 to 5. We are still regrouping in our office internally, and we will have a final chalk-out plan later this week, and we'll share. And our purpose would be to, showcase the benefits of securing permits, getting appropriate inspections. Construction safety is very important, and it's very critical for building safety and life safety. And there are many benefits when you secure a permit and get appropriate inspections. It sometimes reduces and most of the time eliminates any, building accidents or any safety hazard that can exist on a construction site or in any improvement projects. Even one of the major, tasks that we have in our department is doing residential occupancy inspections and making sure people have appropriate residential licenses for renting these units. I could probably ask Derek Daves to elaborate a little bit further on it, but those are certain things that we take into consideration when we are having that interaction. Having said that, I wanted to give Derek an opportunity to talk about it briefly with the group. Derek?
Thank you, Jatinder. Appreciate the time. What we do for Department of Public Services, every rental property within the city of College Park, which includes single-family houses, multifamily buildings, apartment buildings, hotel motels, and also commercial property, business properties, are required to have a residential occupancy permit, and that is good for 1 year. And each year, we send out notices to the owners of those properties to renew their license for the year. And in order to renew that license, they have to be inspected and pass an inspection by our code enforcement officers. We inspect for safety, life safety, fire safety. We make sure their smoke alarms are present. They're inside each bedroom and on each level of the house. Carbon monoxide alarms are on each level of the house. We make sure that they have a second means of egress out of all sleeping areas, which could be a window that's at least 5 square feet or a door leading directly to the outdoors. That's the most important things we look for. We also look for most property maintenance issues, make sure all electrical outlets and electrical service is properly in place and is working. There's no plumbing leaks. The plumbing is working properly. There's heat. Just a number of things of property maintenance. We also do exterior inspections while we're doing these annual inspections. So we inspect the interior of the property and the exterior of the property as well. And again, this is a requirement of all rental properties within the city of College Park that they have a residential occupancy permit in place and it's current and valid.
Okay. Thank you, Derek. Lisa, do you want to say in a couple of minutes before we ask Major Kaladi to get started on this thing?
Sure, thank you. Well, Derek pretty much summed it up. What we would like for residents and potential tenants to do in the future is to call public services and make sure that a property that you are planning to rent is licensed with the city, because that means that property was inspected and it passed, the safety or passed the minimum standard requirements. So please spread the word, advise potential tenants to check for licenses with the city.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it. I want to transfer over the floor to Major Kaladi.
Yeah, can you hear me? Okay, good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? So we'll start off and we'll just generally talk about crime in the first quarter in College Park, and then I'll leave it open for some discussion. So Sharon, if you could you just start off with the first page, please? Go to second page. Okay, this is basically an overview of all the crime during the first quarter in College Park. I'll leave it up here for a couple seconds so everybody can just take a look at it, and then we'll continue and move on throughout the presentation. Okay, Sharon, we go to the next page. All right, this page indicates our robberies that we've had in the city, whether they're commercial robberies and also citizen robberies. And if you look at it, if you take notice of the Baltimore Avenue corridor, you can see that's where we have most of our issues when it comes to robberies. Next slide, please. This slide's going to basically show you the 14 assaults we've had in the city over the last 3 months. Once again, a few of them along the Baltimore Avenue corridor, all the other ones spread out throughout the city itself. Next page, please. So for the first quarter, we had a total of 8 burglaries. We had 3 commercial burglaries and 5 residential burglaries. Next slide. Okay, this graph is going to reflect the theft from autos and other thefts. For the last 3 months, we've had 35 theft from autos and 23 thefts. A lot of our thefts, we're having problems with shoplifting.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. This graph is going to just basically show you the next slide. Show you we've had 25 stolen vehicles over the last 3 months in College Park. Next slide, please. This slide just basically what we call heat mapping, just shows you the clusters of areas that we've been having crimes in. Next slide, please. This is heat mapping, and it's basically relating to quality of life issues. Next slide, please. So this slide is basically going to show you where officers have stopped suspicious persons. So in the last 3 months, we stopped 73 individuals. And this basically just shows you where we're stopping people at. As you can tell, most of it's along the Baltimore Avenue corridor, over in Hollywood and Berwyn, and of course, Old Town. Next slide, please. This slide is just going to show you the monthly comparisons when you look at violent crimes up at top and nonviolent crimes down at the bottom.
What? Sorry,
You're good.
sorry.
You're good. And then next slide, please. This is just a breakdown of the overall crime by the month for the first 3 months of the year. I'll just give everybody the opportunity just to take a look at it. And then just the last page, Sharon, please. The next slide. And as usual, it just shows you the definition of all the crimes. Just a quick touch up. I think most people have seen this before. So if it's okay with everybody, instead of me talking about some of the crimes, I'll leave it up to discussion. And if somebody has any questions about any of the crimes we've had in the last 3 months, I'll try to touch on those. So if anybody got any questions, I'm all ears.
Yeah, Jim, I just saw one thing on page 5. You were talking about burglaries. I saw like there were like 7 spots, but in the legend you had 8. So does that mean maybe on one of those spots was missing?
One's a duplicate. One business was hit twice.
Oh, okay, got you. I think that makes sense. Thank you. I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. So Sharon, I'll open it up for discussion.
Are there any questions from the audience or comments? Ms. Magnus, you look like you're ready to say something, or you want to unmute yourself? There you go.
Well, first of all, I was looking to find where the raised hand is, and I can't find it, so I have to just go ahead. I was curious, how does this compare to other years in the same time frame, or maybe last fall, the last 3 months? You know, it seems to me that we are having a lot more issues, and I'm just curious about that. And I know we're getting into the warmer summer months, which may start to increase some of the problems.
So when you talk about more issues, what are you talking about? And I don't have data based on the last couple of years, but you said more issues. So what are you referring to?
Well, more burglaries, more thefts, theft from autos, more thefts from properties, more assaults. That's what I'm saying, increasing the numbers.
I would probably imagine that most of our crime is probably identical. Maybe could be slightly lower, could be slightly higher. The only thing that I've seen in the last 3 months is that we've had 3 shootings, which is unusual for College Park.
Okay. When you're talking about thefts from autos, is this possibly related to the fact that people are not locking their cars? Or the other fact is they're leaving, you know, expensive type of things out, or I wouldn't call it expensive, but the disabled parking permit out so that people know, hey, this car is something that we can get into.
It's most likely a possible combination of things. People leave their vehicles unlocked, and they also leave valuables visible.
You know, it almost feels like there should be some campaign to try to get people to realize this. I know it's very hard. You know, people do whatever they want to do and they don't really care sometimes until it hits them.
I think we have a lot of information about theft from autos out there. Either people want to do it or they don't want to do it. So
Okay.
look, if you look at the meeting tonight, there's not many citizens from the city that's online. A lot of people don't want to be bothered with crime prevention, but we do put it out by social media through all the different avenues that we have.
Yeah, I'm finding that people are only concerned when it hits them. And they use that platform called Nextdoor to kind of complain, and then it brings out, well, 10 years ago, I had a problem and, you know, things like that. But I would say in reading some of those things on Nextdoor, people don't want to report to the police. They say, oh, it's not that bad, or please don't do anything. And that's frustrating in my part when I hear that, because I think the police do things, just that people don't realize what all the police are doing and why they can't say anything afterwards.
Carol, do you have a question for me? I think you're making a statement. You got a question?
No, I'm making a statement, you
Okay.
know, on that.
Okay. Anybody
Yep.
else have any questions?
I do, and actually, it's really for the city, but it relates to auto theft, auto break-ins, like Miss Magnus was raising. I know that in the past, including one period last year, the city put up the electronic signs reminding people to remove valuables from the car, lock their car, and so I wondered if the city has, might consider planning to put up those electronic reminder signs this year before it gets bad.
So currently we have both of the electronic boards down in Old Town for the end of school year, where we have a lot of issues. And the city's been real receptive of moving them around for us. So I'm sure we can move them around after we get finished with the end of school year activities down in Old Town.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Thank you.
I want to recognize that Dr. Esters, our council member, is online as well. Council member Esters, you want to say anything to the group?
Good evening. I don't know what folks are talking about at this moment, but I'm glad I could be here with you. Apologize for being late.
No worries, Dr. Esters. I think we had started, I had a brief department functioning introduction, and then Derek and Lisa talked briefly about code enforcement. And Major Colletti went through his PowerPoint presentation. He had about 13 slides, and we had opened the floor for follow-up. And I think Carol and Todd, they were kind enough to express their comments, concerns, and they raised some really good points. And we're going to take them into consideration as a feedback and see what more we can do to address those items. So that's where we are. We do have a Jacob Vasalati. He's going to go through, GoGov details, and he's going to pair up with Sharon, and Sharon will talk about, how the new website is working. Rena was sick out today, so she couldn't be here. So we are trying to make sure that we are addressing the whole program as it was intended to be. Having said that, any final words, Major Colletti?
Oh, no, sir. I'll just leave it up for discussion.
Okay, thank you. Sharon, you want to continue with the follow-up on the agenda?
Sure. So as we're segueing from Major Coletti's presentation, I just wanted to share the look of the new public safety page on the city's website. I'm going to put this up now for you to see. And the easiest way to get there would be to go to the main web page of collegeparkmd.gov. I tend to do it quickly, and I just use /public safety, all one word, and it takes you to the page that I'm sorry, that you should be seeing right now. Are you seeing public safety and emergency preparedness? Okay, great. So this is slightly different look than we've had in the past. We had hoped to have Rena here to tell us more about the bells and whistles of the new website, but at least we can get to the information that this group most frequently asks for, the maps and information that Major Coletti's staff provides for us on a monthly basis is posted here under Public Safety News and Maps. And we can add tonight's quarterly report in as well. And I think, Mr. Rietzel, you had pointed out right at the switch that some of our numbers had dropped off. So we were able to take care of that in the transition into the new website. So hopefully you'll find everything that you're looking for. And if you find anything that's missing or it's misplaced, please send communications a note, or you can send it to us at Public Services, and we'll make sure that the information is relayed. Also, here are some of our past public safety meetings, because we are recording this evening, and as we have in the past. And if there's anything you want to take a look at, there's some helpful tips there from, we've had presentations by animal welfare and fire services and other agencies inside and out of the city. So please take a look there. Here's some emergency preparedness information that you can also take a look at. And I think our next quarterly presentation will coincide with either fire safety or emergency preparedness. So we will have some more information to share with you. And that basically covers it. If you have any questions, I yield the floor now to questions. And everyone may have noticed that Zoom's format has changed just a little bit. So if you want to raise your hand, it's in the More button now. And no, it's moved again. It was in the More button last week. I think it's in the chat. But if there are any questions, please let me know.
Sharon, it's in the React button where heart sign is. If you click at that, it shows up, and I think you could probably raise hand there.
Okay, great. Thank you for finding that for me. But it seems like everyone's comfortable with our new webpage so far. Able to see it?
Yeah, I have a question about,
Sure.
I guess, the website in general.
Mm-hmm.
Just the other day, I did a search. It came up with, it was a search for committees, because I was interested in looking at various committees, finding out what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the links that came up didn't exist.
Would you like me to try that now?
No, no, I'm just saying, this is
Okay.
in general. I'm very concerned that when you made the transition, if some of these, and it's very hard to try to figure it out, but some of the older reports and pages and whatever had links to old things that are no longer existing. When you did the website, and I guess it's more than just for public safety, was that a consideration? Because I know that there are ways that when people click on a link that you're getting rid of, you can automatically get them to the place where they should be. And it didn't seem like that was something in consideration.
I'm sorry you've had that experience, but I would relay that to our communications staff and have them take a look at that to confirm that everything has transferred properly. Again, you said you were looking for boards and commissions?
Right, the committees.
Okay. All right, I'll make sure that they're advised of your difficulty and have it fixed.
Because it was a little bit frustrating. You know, I know that I didn't like a lot of things on the old website. Well, I'm starting to not like a lot of things on the new site. When I see something like this, it's kind of like, why even bother going out to the city's website? That's the attitude that starts to build up in me. Even though I keep telling myself, just be a little patient, try to, figure things out.
Carol, that's a great strategy to have. I think we all as humans sometimes feel in that kind of, state of affairs. I can tell you, I recently changed my password, and that was the first time I had to re-log into my computer because I booted it back, and I tried it and I forgot it. But when I tried it second time, it worked. Like, I think you just have to give it a little bit of time, and it's not something that we can't fix. But I think your feedback is very good, and we will definitely circle back with our communication events team and make sure all the links are fixed for all the committees.
Okay, I had a general question. When you were explaining how the department you're in is set up, where does public safety fall within it? It wasn't one of the top 4 sections, and I was just curious.
So public safety is done under contract police program, and all of that work is through Major Kaladi. And we all divisions coordinate with them because a lot of time it's just not going to be, they're all intertwined together. Code enforcement, a lot of time, if there is like some vehicle with the expired, license plates or expired tags, if they are moving, public safety can handle it, but they give information to my code enforcement team and they act on it based on what the facts have been conveyed. And a lot of time parking enforcement, like we have had recently, like school bus driver issue that we dealt with. And it was a combination of things, between parking, school system and Major Kaladi's team. So it's all intertwined. But public safety is an integral part of our responsibility and functionality of Public Services Department.
Okay. You mentioned, one of the people mentioned residential for building inspections to make sure there's the proper exits and fire and carbon monoxide things and, detectors and smoke alarms. Does the city have a certain way of finding out what residential single family buildings are being rented, be it the whole building or just part of the building? Because I'm concerned that it's usually obvious when you're talking about the students population. It's not that obvious when I look out the window at my next door and find out that the basement's being rented out to a couple that the family figures they know them well and it's extra income. How do you find out about those kind of rental situation, which a lot of people don't realize that they need to have this certification to be a rental property, especially when they're renting out just 1 or 2 rooms of their house.
Okay, great. I think it's a great question, Karen. I'm going to give Derek, you want to take it, or Lisa, you want to take that question?
Sure, I can take that. So just to let you know, if it's an owner occupied residence, they could rent up to 2 people without having to get a city license. If they rent to 3, then they are required to get a city license. And we do find out through our SDAT. We go on there to see if the owner lives at the residence, or if they have a different address, we can get it through there. And we get a lot of information from neighbors. So we always ask the residents if they see that there's a rental property or house being rented out, certainly give us a call or give us an email, and we will investigate and check it out. We get a lot of those through residents giving us information about that.
Lisa,
Well,
you
you
want to
talk-
add it too?
Well, that's fine. Now going to building safety. You know, I heard a lot about rentals. I heard a lot about apartments, commercial buildings. Is there something that, you know, you're emphasizing, at least this month being building safety, that residents can say, hey, I would like to have a safety check on my house? You know, it doesn't seem like that building safety covered emphasizing it. I know it exists. I don't know how many people in this city know that you can get a safety check with the police coming in and checking and saying, oh yeah, you got, you know, a lot of high bushes over here and people can hide in them, for instance.
So I think it's a great question, Carol. I think premises check or vacation request, those are the kind of venues where we do that. During the month of May, we do, advertise in the sense that if there is anybody who may have concerns about like a tenant situation where the tenants are not coming out to, to share with the regulatory authority, or the maybe landlord is dragging their feet to get certain things fixed. We encourage anyone and everyone, if they are in that situation, to report back to us. And if somebody tells us through any means, telephone, email, telephone call, walk-in, we definitely send out our code enforcement officers and check those things. I think from building safety point of view, code enforcement means exactly what you just said. Smoke alarms, carbon monoxide alarms, handrails, guardrails, like a bedroom having a minimum egress, window, steps having at least a handrail on one side of the stairs, more than 4 stairs. Those are all basic checks that we do in any residential place that has been rented, and the landlord is getting money on behalf of people staying there and renting that place. If there is any scenario where you know of anything, we welcome you to let us know those addresses and we will get them checked, on priority. As far as effort going, all the building official and code enforcement manager throughout the country, they celebrate May as a building safety month. And when we say building safety month, it's just not building safety. It also goes with life safety. When we talk about life safety, we are talking about sprinkler systems. We are talking about EMT response. We are talking about if a fire happens, how quickly the fire department shows up there. And are we, educating the landlords? We do have regular conversation with our Prince George's County Property Owners Association, their representatives. If we see that there is a place where a lot of parties are happening and they are creating noise disturbance for the community, reducing their quality of life less than what it should be, we definitely, cite them. Like we issue NOVs, cite them. And then if we see that something has happened beyond a couple of times, third time it happens, we bring the owner back, not only the tenant, but also owner back to our office and tell them like, hey, adhere to your, civic duty to be a great neighbor. We know that you are renting this place and getting income out of it, but that doesn't mean that you start disturbing other people's quality of life. So that has been our approach, Carol. And if you have any scenario, we are more than, welcoming you or any other people that work with you in the community, bring those information to us and we will address those issues on priority.
Okay, thank you. And just one final general question. I know you're having these quarterly, which if we take starting with May, the next one would be August. Is the, maybe it's not just you as the public safety person, but the city in general. I know the first, I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday in August, usually is National Night Out Month. Are you
Yes.
folks starting to look at that and plan what you're planning on doing for that night out? I know that, you know, the different areas tend to have their own little get together, which has pluses and minuses by making it just, you know, not one for citywide. I've had some people who represent some organization and they said it's very hard to make all maybe 4 or 5 different places because they're all at the same time. And they've said to me, gee, it would be nice if the city had one National Night Out thing. And I know that was tried once way back, you know, many years. And people, the feedback was, we want our own little one, which goes against the city's mantra that says one College Park, because it doesn't, you know, that starts to make people separate as opposed to bring them together. But anyway,
Okay.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, that's great, Carol. I think a national night out is like a national effort. And in my previous locations where I have been in Virginia, DC, and now here in Maryland, that effort is carried out as a national campaign. Is Sharon or Major Colletti, do you want to elaborate on that? What are our efforts? Because I don't have any historical perspective in context to College Park here.
My experience with the event is that it is a neighborhood and public safety official, primarily policing agency interaction that's driven by the community, not necessarily driven by staff of a municipality and or its elected officials. So that's why we've fallen back to the neighborhood events that make it easier for those residents, especially in the far-reaching neighborhoods of the city, to come together and celebrate the activity. And it takes great effort, yes, but I think that's where we've landed. I did participate in the one effort to host it as a central activity, but that still really only stuck to two neighborhoods who had easy access to walk to that site. So we find that it's been more productive and much more appreciated when we have residents able to walk to the site in their neighborhood and come together. But Major Colletti, you might have more to offer on that.
No, you're 100% right, Sharon. Police department has nothing to do with picking what neighborhood has National Night Out. We try to support as many events in the city as possible based on our staffing. So we do have a lot of locations. Sometimes officers will have to go from one event to the next, but we leave it up to the local communities.
Okay, I just want to qualify, it's not just the residents and the police. You've had the National Guard, you've had other local community organizations there. So again, it's not just residents and police. The Youth and Family and Seniors facility, they had a table at you know, various organizations. Just to make sure people realize it's not, you know, it's more community get together with the emphasis on the police and their interaction.
Okay, great, Carol. I think I can assure you that your idea is very important, and we will think about it internally. And if there is a growing interest in the community, we will definitely make a concerted effort, including all the departments which are applicable, as you mentioned. And we will make an effort to see if there is a viability to do that. At
If
this
I may-
point of time, yeah. Go ahead, Dr. Estes.
If I may just say that what I understand and from the planning of this event is that the civic associations actually take the onus on planning. And there has
No.
been,
No,
Carol, may I finish?
go ahead.
The civic associations take the onus to begin this planning, and there have been instances where they've worked together. And I know that in Lakeland, they planned and they worked to put it together, and there's been discussion or interest in doing one together. Now, there may be other organizations that are involved. However, the civic associations that I'm aware of, at least in my district, and I believe North College Park as well, did a lot of the work to get the planning going for these events that happen in each of the neighborhoods.
Now I've been involved with the North College Park, and we were not involved with planning it I'm not involved for the last couple of years, but for the last 10 years before that, there was no communications on this or planning from the North College Park Community Association.
Okay, Carol, I think we also have one very big item still left. I wanted to make sure that we utilize Jacob Vasalati to go through that particular item of going through the GoGov scenarios. Jacob, floor is yours.
Thank you all. Good evening. I'm Jacob Vasalati. I'm the GIS coordinator for the City of College Park, and I work in the Department of Public Works in our engineering division. And I just wanted to highlight our fairly new reporting system, which is known as College Park Connect. So on our new city website, at the top of every page that you'll go to, you'll notice the report and issue button. You can click that. And throughout the web page, throughout the website, you'll also be able to find it. So if you would go to the engineering page per se, we also have the link readily available throughout the pages for reporting issues. So I'm going to go back to report an issue at the top, and this brings you to our main landing screen, which has a full list of topics and categories that you can select from to report issues across the city to multiple departments. So one of the huge benefits that we're seeing with this system is the increased collaboration between multiple departments, particularly the Department of Public Services and the Department of Public Works. So as Sharon alluded to earlier, it takes everybody for public safety to be a good effort. So if you're reporting items like graffiti in here, it helps both departments track when the issue may have occurred and looking at our inventory of cameras and talking to local residents. So it's really a team effort here, and that's why we really enjoyed implementing this system. So you can search by keywords if you want, and you can explore the drop downs here. So we have multiple drop downs. All of the Department of Public Services topics are housed in here. And I'm just going to showcase a few of the topics for Department of Public Works. So under street maintenance, we have a lot of different topics such as graffiti, roadway signs, potholes, and these are set to auto route to our staff and our team so we can get them fixed as quickly as possible. So I'm just going to show you, you would click on graffiti. Let's use that as an example. And it explains at the top, it'll give you some details about the request you're making to help guide you. And so for this instance, you can use it to report graffiti on both city streets or private property. And also notes that if you are witnessing the act in progress, to call 911 for police. This line here just explains that you are able to submit your contact information, or you can submit the case anonymously. So there's just a bit of detail here on how to do each of those. If you are hoping to receive updates on the cases you're submitting, we do suggest putting in your email address at a minimum, because that allows the system to give you status updates and allows staff to communicate with you throughout the completion of the request that you've submitted. So that is a really big benefit of the tool. It allows us to communicate. And for example, if something is on the corner of a street, a sign is down on the corner of the street and the address faces a different roadway, we can verify that the sign you were reporting is just around the corner. Something like that really helps us communicate with the residents. So I'm going to go ahead and make a request. It'll bring us to the map here, and you can drag the red dotted marker throughout the map, or you can enter in a specific address. It does accept intersections as well. So I'm here at Davis Hall, so I'm going to enter in 51st Avenue and Cree Lane, which is right outside the office here. And I'll just say graffiti on parking sign. And you can drop an image in here if you have a picture of it, and we'll go over later how to use the mobile reporting app as well. If there were other issues for this topic that were open, they would also display on the map as well. And so you can include your picture, and then you would go down to the submit button. So here is the option where you can include your contact information, including your phone number, email. You can submit as much or as little information as you want to provide staff. And if you don't want to provide anything at all, you would just go ahead and submit contact information. So I'm just going to go ahead and submit this anonymously. If you do submit anonymously, please make a note of your case number. So in this case, the request number is 6802. It'll give you a completion date, or a date that staff will contact you. And if you submit anonymously, you'll be able to reach out to staff either via phone or email, and you can request an update if needed. But we do encourage you, if you want to receive updates, to definitely include your email in the box. So I'm going to show two others real quick. You can now request a bulk or special pickup through here as well, and the system will prompt you for some commonly requested items, so you can just check whatever you're hoping to have picked up and include other, and you can describe your other items at the bottom as well as when you want the items picked up. So there's a bunch of details in the case all about the Department of Public Works bulk and special pickups. So if you have any questions about what we pick up, we've included all of the information as well as the item limits in the text description. So you can even include a picture of the items you want picked up and the number of items that you're requesting to have us picked up, and then if it's an owner occupied or a rental property. So that is another option. And this one, we do require your contact information so that we can schedule the pickup accordingly with you. And I'll go over a few more here, two more. Under utilities, some of the options you may notice on the system do not have the option to submit. In this case, we have a lot of utility providers that do not, they provide service to the city, and our city government does not provide the service. For example, the electric and gas and water services. So for example, if there's a gas leak and you don't know who to call, we have listed here, you can call the emergency leak line for Washington Gas, and we have their website link here. If you notice an overhead street light that is out, we have a link here to report directly to Pepco, and you can zoom in and report any street lights that are out in your area. And that way you can submit and receive the status updates directly and know what's going on in your neighborhood. So we really wanted to enable the residents to have the right resources to help keep our infrastructure in good condition, and keep the community safe. And then there's some others like we maintain many of the metal pedestrian streetlights, and we've included information about what we maintain here. So that's just a very quick overview of the website. I'm going to turn it over to Lisa and Sharon to go over the code and parking enforcement. And then after that, I will show the mobile app real quick, since we have a number of residents who prefer to use the College Park Connect mobile app. So I'll take any quick questions, and then I'm going to turn it over to Lisa and Sharon to go over the code and parking enforcement.
Hey, Jacob, I think I want to recognize that Todd had a hand up he has taken it down, but he probably had a question for you, I think. Todd?
Thank you. My hand was up from before related
Okay.
to something we haven't talked about yet. So
Okay,
let's go
good.
ahead with this, and maybe I can just get a chance later before we finish.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jacob.
Oh, I just wanted to see if there was any questions from any of the attendees, and then if not, we can have Sharon and Lisa go over these topics in here. So not seeing any. So Sharon and Lisa.
Okay. Thanks, Jacob. And if you don't mind, if you could just keep your screen up and just kind of walk with me through this. I would like to take this opportunity to briefly touch on the noise, substandard property, and vehicles categories. So regarding noise, code enforcement strongly encourages residents to call the noise hotline when you are disturbed by noise or unruly social gatherings while they are happening. So when you call, on-duty code enforcement officers or contract police officers can be dispatched to the location to take a noise meter reading or mitigate the situation or shut down the party. The calls that you make to the hotline are documented, and details of the events are documented and are crucial in our cases, especially those that result in fines. So oftentimes we get complaints submitted via email, and statements such as, oh, they have loud parties every weekend, or pretty sure there was underage drinking at the party last night, do not help us. We want to be able to show that we responded to many calls to this location. And repeated violations can result in the revocation of occupancy permits. And when students are referred to the Office of Student Conduct, OSC asks us for details observed by the responding unit. So it's really important that, residents call the hotline. So please spread the word, tell your neighbors, advise your constituents to call the city hotline to report noise and unruly gathering disturbance when they occur. So that's all I have for noise, unless Derek wanted to add to that.
Nope, you covered it well, Lisa. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And Jacob, let's touch substandard property for a sec there. So residents will report here property conditions that do not meet the minimum standards or comply with the city code. Earlier, Derek gave examples of interior and exterior conditions that we look for during inspections. And those are the same items that residents can report here. And if you are a tenant, you must notify your landlord first and give them the opportunity to rectify the issue. We also want tenants to make these requests for repairs to your landlords in writing before filing a complaint with code enforcement. This way, if we have to issue tickets to these landlords, we have evidence that we can present before a judge. And let's go down to vehicles. This will be really quick. Residents can enter complaints about vehicles that are on private property, whether it's residential or commercial. Wrecked or dismantled vehicles, vehicles with no or expired tags, or vehicles parked on unpaved surfaces like grass or dirt, they are to be submitted here. Parking enforcement, you will report vehicles that are on the street. So you will see vehicles in two categories here: code enforcement and parking. And that's all I have for now, pending any questions from the audience. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm going to stop sharing, and as I move over to the mobile side of things, I just wanted to emphasize that there's a lot of overlap between certain topics. So even if you're unsure on what to submit, our staff can reclassify the topics to ensure that your request gets routed to the proper staff to be taken care of. So our system has that benefit as well. So I'm going to try and get the mobile app up. So this is accessible on Android and Apple devices. So you get brought to our landing screen on the left. And I know there's a lot of different and I apologize because you can probably see my camera on the screen because I'm on two devices, but you'll hit the three bars at the top left corner. Some people call it a hamburger. And you can track your request or start a request if you're logged in. So if you're not logged in, you can sign up for an account, or you can log in using your credentials. And once you're logged in, you can start a request, or you can track your existing requests. So I'm going to show you how to start a request, and then we'll go back and look at the track option. So I'm going to hit start a request. The layout is primarily the same, but one of the big differences you'll notice under, let's say, the gas leak one, it says FAQ. That just indicates that you're going to have information there to redirect you to an external agency, like I mentioned before. So I'm going to submit a pothole. And we also have information, for example, to guide you if you have a county road that needs potholes. So we have roadways maintained by 3 jurisdictions within the city limits. So we have State Highway Administration, Prince George's County Department of Public Works and Transportation, as well as the city. So we have some information to help guide the submitter there. Here, you can take a picture or upload from your photo library, or you can opt to skip the photo. So in this case, I'll just skip a photo. It knows my current location. This is a huge benefit of the mobile app, is that you can enable your location services and it knows exactly where you are. So I'm currently at our Public Works facility. So the address pops up and I can just hit done, and I can type in the description here. And I'm not going to submit it. And one of the big things here is that it's easier to submit privately versus anonymously. So privately means the issue and your contact info will only be visible to our staff here. And that will allow you to receive the email updates that I mentioned earlier. So we'll be able to communicate with you. If you switch that to anonymously, it means that your contact information will not be linked to your request, and staff will not be able to contact you with questions, and you will not receive those updates from the system. So there's some language there. If you want to receive the updates, we encourage you to submit it as private, but definitely a pretty simple interface. All of our topics are included here. just on the website, just as on the website. And I'm going to back up to the home screen and go to the track requests option. So this is extremely helpful so you know what you've submitted and when you've submitted it. And so, for example, I submitted a pothole that I noticed on the sidewalk today to our Public Works team. So it's currently in progress, and I can tap that and see the details, when it was reported, which department it was reported to, and a small description there. And I can even add a comment. So if you have an open case and you want to receive an update on it, you can add a comment. You can say, can I receive a status update on when my request is anticipated to be completed? So it really allows that level of engagement directly associated with the case. And that's one of the big benefits, especially if you can track all of your bulk trash pickups for the year to see how many bulk trash pickups you've had, since our limit is 4 and we have an item limit as well. So it really helps both staff and the residents keep track of all of the things that are going on in the city, and it assists with our efforts to make the city safer and keep our infrastructure in good condition. So with that, I'm very happy to take any questions regarding either the web interface or the mobile app from anybody on the call.
Jacob, I have a question.
Yes.
This is Lisa. So with the influx of animal control related complaints that are outside our jurisdiction, we get a lot of calls on the or the city hotline. Here on this app, is something in place that will prevent residents who may, I don't know, they may find the link and come here and submit a complaint that's outside our jurisdiction? Is there something in place that will prevent them from doing that?
Let me hope this. Yes. So as you can see, our map is set up here to only accept submissions within the City of College Park's jurisdiction. So University of Maryland property, which is state property, as well as areas outside of the city, are all outside of our jurisdiction. So the system will not allow for submissions in those locations. So I hope that clarifies that for you, Lisa. There is a sort of a preventative measure there. And then also within those, the information boxes on each topic, we've tried to include information for the county and state agencies where applicable, so that residents can reach out directly to those agencies for service.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Sure.
Jacob, this has been very helpful. And we'll have tons more questions for you, I'm sure, from staff as we are learning the processes that you've implemented. But I don't see any other questions in the audience.
I think there is some thing in the chat that Todd has put in.
Mm-hmm. That's relating to new state legislation.
Yeah, I think, I can read it out loud. The General Assembly passed legislation allowing noise cameras this year in 2-year pilot program in Prince George's, Montgomery, and Arundel County starting July 1. Each county is allowed 3 cameras. There has been a lot of interest in College Park in the use of such devices, and city its residents supported the legislation. Has the city communicated with the county about the plan for placing these 3 noise cameras? Or does the city have any plans to pursue discussions that might lead to placement of one of the cameras in College Park? I'm not aware of this particular legislation having been passed. We will definitely circle back with Bill Gardner and our lobbyist and see what the details are and where we are and what scope we got for such a legislation to be implemented here as far as noise cameras are concerned. I'm not even sure about noise camera as a device.
I can just briefly let you know that it's really the real name is Noise Abatement Monitoring System.
Oh, okay, okay.
And so it's basically a microphone that measures the decibels emitted from a vehicle, from a loud vehicle, and then takes a picture of that vehicle's license plate. So that's the colloquial expression is noise camera. Since I was typing,
Okay.
I use the shorthand. It's been discussed in the General Assembly in the area for several years, and it finally something got passed this year. So I'm just curious, about whether the city might pursue trying to take advantage of it.
Jatinder, if I may jump in.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So Todd, during our discussions about legislative updates and all the legislation that was of interest to us, this particular legislation was important, and we have expressed interest. And I don't know where we are currently with any planning, but I do know that the city has expressed interest in obtaining cameras and being part of the group of cities that receive them. So that's as much as I can tell you now. I know that there'll be more discussion, and if I can find out any more, I'll share with you as well.
Thank you.
Sure.
So Todd, I think if I may add to what Council Member Dr. Esther said, I think anytime any legislation or any ordinance that is implemented in any city as a jurisdiction, we just got to look for the legal sufficiency and the operational capability of the existing department that is going to implement and enforce. And we will definitely, I think, as a public services director, I encourage technology innovation in helping us to, comply with the code as far as the code ordinances are concerned or requirements are concerned. But it'll be premature for me to commit to you right now and make a, like a statement. But I think my position is that we are open to it. We'll definitely entertain if there is a possibility. But then again, it has to come from the council and their direction, and they give guideline to the city manager, and then it get passed on to the individual department directors. And we are willing, open, and we shall consider this if it is doable as far as our operations are concerned. That's our position. Thank you, Todd. Is there anybody with any gut questions that they really want to get answered from this group? I think we are already maybe 20 minutes past, and we had some logistical issues in the beginning. But I really want to bring this meeting to an tail end unless somebody raise hand or shows an interest to ask for further questions. But I'm glad that we did this meeting. And I've had a good feeling that we had open dialogue here. And our job is to serve the city residents and city businesses and help them, to have an excellent quality of life and make sure that everybody is following through their civic duty as a citizen, and we are living in a peaceful and harmony as a community. I think that's my position as a public services director. Having said that, Dr. Esther, do you want to make final comments?
I would just like to thank you, Jatinder, and all of your staff, for all of the work that you do, and Major Coletti, but want to thank you for reinstituting these quarterly meetings. I do hope that people will continue to to join and listen for tips and share their concerns, because this is probably one of the best venues for us to really hear and understand what may be going on and of concern to residents. So thank you to everyone who came out.
Thank you, everyone. Have a safe evening and safe night.
Good night.